Technology permeates our lives in almost every way. Education is no exception. From the way teachers teach to the devices used by students in the classroom and at home, technology is transforming education. Educators continue to learn too, keeping up with the latest technology and resources available to help them both in and out of their classrooms. This transformation does not just apply to K-12 education. Police officers can now receive recertification training from their patrol cars or on their smartphones. During the next hour, we will explore new ways to learn, what resources are available, as well as how educators can keep the upper hand as technology and ways to integrate it continue to emerge. We will take your questions on the topic too on today's Education Insight.
And welcome back to another edition of Education Insight here on ETV, a program we hope you'll be a part of tonight. We have a great panel here of professionals who want to talk about how the classroom is changing and how teachers are adapting in South Carolina. I'm Scott Hawkins, and as always, we've got a full program, and we want to introduce our panel right off the bat. Dr. Jeremy Dickerson is Professor of Instructional Technology at Coastal Carolina University. Elizabeth Kohut, Technical Coordinator for Instructional Technology Services at Richland District 1, and Laura Howard is a Science Instructor at South Carolina Virtual School at the Department of Education, right? All right. And as always, Tanisha Polite is on our social media set with more panelists and a way for you to become a part of the program.
Thank you, Scott. And yes, I have an illustrious panel of guests on the social media site. First, let's meet Jed Derryberry. Mr. Derryberry is a second grade elementary teacher at Woodland Heights in Spartanburg School District 6. And he is this year's Teacher of the Year Top 5 finalist. Very impressive.
Thank you.
And we have, of course, the incomparable Donna Thompson. She is ETV's own technology integration specialist, and the colorful Paula Matthews. She is a second grade teacher at Sandal Elementary in Richland School District 1, and she also told me that in the year 2007-2008, she was the Teacher of the Year. So I told you I have an illustrious panel of guests. And you can also be a part of our panel discussion. We have many ways that you can do that. You can send us a tweet at #EduInsight. You can also send us an email at educationinsight@scetv.org, or you can give us a call. Our local telephone number is 252-1134, and our 1-800 number is 1-800-763-3881. So please join us. Scott?
Thanks, Tanisha. We'll launch our first question out to the whole panel and see who takes the bait first. What is the biggest change that someone would notice if they walked into the classroom after 30 years of not having seen a classroom or walked into one at all? What stands out now? I know the chalkboard is gone. That's an easy one. But there's a lot more going on.
I'll start. I think that you're going to see a lot more student-centered learning taking place, where the students are driving some of the instruction. I think instead of the chalkboard, you're seeing these interactive whiteboards that can engage students. There's a lot of mobile technology that's being infused into classrooms today, so you're going to see a lot more research, project-based learning, those types of things going on in classrooms that you might not have seen before.
I'll chime in also, Scott, and add to that. Teacher as facilitator as opposed to teacher as sage on the stage. The stand and deliver moments for teachers are all still there. I do believe, though, that if we walked into today's schools, you would see a lot of teacher as facilitator, teacher as coach, and a lot of teachers doing things that didn't look exactly the same way they did 30 years ago, largely because of technology.
And is it computer technology, is it distance learning, or is it just the whole approach? Are we discussing hardware or an approach tonight?
I think we're discussing both. I think that they, to a degree, drive each other. So we have been talking technology in schools for a long time, and that's evolving. But with new standards that are written, currently the state's working on new science standards, which I've I'm interested in as a science instructor. The focus of the new science standards is having kids actively engaged in the learning through the processes, and technology is an integral part of that. So as the processes develop, then the technology has to support that, and as technology develops, the processes adjust.
What is the biggest obstacle to introducing some of this technology? Is it the cost, or is it the preparation of the educator?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that, in order for students to be able to use technology effectively, it's a top-down type of design where you really have to look at, starting at the top from, your district level folks, moving down to your principals leading the charge at the school level, and then working to provide professional development so that teachers have some tools in their toolbox and skill sets to effectively be able to manage this technology that the students are using, help them to locate resources that are standards aligned, so that they're, it's supporting what they're already doing in the classroom. It's just bringing in that engaging piece for them.
Scott, as a professor of instructional technology at Coastal Carolina University, we get to work with a lot of different districts and a lot of different teachers. And to answer your question, from my perspective, it depends on the classroom. In some schools, like in Horry County, we see a 1-to-1 computer ratio rolling out. So technology, it's not 100% out there yet, but in the areas and districts, and schools that they've been doing that, the hardware and the software is not an issue. In other cases, in other districts, you may have no access to the hardware or software. You may have a teacher who's ready to do it, but just don't have the tools.
I'm sorry, Scott. If
Yeah,
I could
go
add,
ahead.
I just wanted to share a little bit about what my district, Spartanburg District 6, is doing to train teachers. Starting in 2008, we hired teachers who could become tech trainers for the district. And so these tech trainers were in the trenches daily using the technology with their students. And then we would leave the classroom at the end of the day, do in-service classes across the district on how to use things like the Promethean board, iPads, integrate the laptops and things that were coming into our classrooms. So we were getting the training from the people who were on the front lines, those of us who were eager to jump in and use it. And it was really amazing how it became contagious in our district, that once people saw, hey, I can do this, this isn't that hard, and you guys are going to help me, the technology just took off. So I think the biggest factor is not necessarily getting the hardware, as you said, but it's training and equipping and empowering the teachers to feel confident so they can reach their students where they are.
You mentioned a couple of items there, the touch screens and everything. For those of us who have not seen any of this in action, I know we have a lot of educators watching, but there are folks out there who don't know what those are. Maybe you can define them a little bit.
If I could define that, I would probably be on the Today Show explaining that to a much larger audience probably. But I think that the sky is the limit when you're talking about the devices. You have iPads, you have touchscreen laptops, you have students that bring their own devices. So teachers have to really be prepared for whatever's going to be in there, and not necessarily the device. It's not necessarily the device that you look at, but it's the pedagogy behind the device. What are you going to do with it? Is it just going to be a research tool, or is it going to be something where you can integrate the arts and kids have a product where they create something to show you what they've learned? In my class specifically, we use apps like iMovie, we use Puppet Pals, we use Sock Puppet app. All these apps are great, and they're not just research tools, they're where they take the learning that we've done in class and they apply it in a creative, in an arts integrated way to present their learning, their finding in the inquiry-based learning like you mentioned, and that kind of mindset has really changed the whole landscape of what technology is becoming in the classroom. It's not just a research tool, it's so much bigger.
Okay. Jeremy?
Something that's really important in the training of pre-service teachers and in the retraining of in-service teachers, Scott, is to be what we call an instructional engineer. Take the pieces and parts when you hit your classroom and you figure out what you have, the hardware, the software, the different types of tools, and integrate that seamlessly into your instruction. A well-prepared teacher in today's schools, I really feel like, needs to be able to assess what he or she has at their disposal and integrate that to the best of their ability.
Well, Well, as we know, many teachers don't feel comfortable enough with the technology sometimes. Obviously, it can be quite a learning curve to easily incorporate it into their particular classroom curriculum. But in today's rapidly changing technological world, they have little choice, as we're learning here. Debbie Jarrett is a technology integration specialist at ETV here, and she and Donna work closely together. Debbie explains to the use and importance of knowing and using technology in the classroom and how she teaches teachers who may be a little bit leery of learning about today's newest tools.
And what I do is hands-on training out in the schools. I go out to a school and I help teachers with any type of technology they need help with. We do training with the devices, we do iPad training, we do Chromebook training, we do web tools, free web stuff that's out there for teachers to use. We concentrate on ETV services, ETV content that we provide, but we also have branched out and do a lot of other training for teachers on any multimedia products and stuff they use in the classroom. Years ago, teachers just had a chalkboard in front of the students and that's what they used. And now there's, because we do have access to all this technology, teachers need to communicate differently with their students, meaning they need to use Edmodo, Blackboard, Moodle, some type of way to digitally communicate with their students and the parents, because parents typically are connected also. They're text messaging, they're going on social media, whatever. So when the school joins in on that, they're communicating with the parents on a level that the parents are used to communicating on. So what a teacher needs to do is to embrace that type of communication and have some way to electronically communicate with and digitally communicate with their students. For example, all of our classes are run through some type of classroom management system. We use Moodle, and so the teachers have to have an account and they communicate back and forth via digitally. Even if those teachers are right in front of me, I'm still having them use that online component because that's real world. ETV, we see our role as being a group that can come in and assist the school with whatever their technology professional development needs are. We do like to teach the teachers in the environment that we are trying to get them to use in the classroom. We do feel that a lot of the teachers who are older need that initial face-to-face contact rather than just an online piece. They will feel more comfortable with the online piece after, but they just want someone to hold their hand and guide them through that process, and then they're comfortable with it. So that's sort of what we try to do in our face-to-face environment, is getting them used to getting them used to that environment so they can move on to that more online type learning. And it's all about baby steps. You go in and you can just flood them with lots of information, and I do that, but I also tell them, pick one thing that I showed you today and take that one thing and try to incorporate that over the next 9 weeks in your classroom. Then you can take that and you will find that you're comfortable with it and you can build on that. So it is hard because sometimes we only have an hour and a half or an hour or so with the teachers, but I do want to try to make them feel as comfortable as they can with what I'm giving them in that small amount of time. Plus, we're always available to answer questions. I never want teachers to feel like they're bothering me if they ask me a question, so I tell them, my job is to help them and to teach them. I want them to feel like at any point they can email me and they can ask me a question. I tell them that's my job, just like you offering that to your students. It's no different because the teachers are my students, and so they're the ones that I'm out there trying to teach and try to help and hold their hands through all this. If I can do it, if I can teach myself how to do it, they can do it. It's better for you to make those videos yourself.
And there are many other training opportunities available to teachers around the state, including online recertification and graduate credit courses available, offered by ETV and PBS. Visit our website here at ETV, www.scetv.org/Education Insight, for links to more information. And speaking of technology, we've already got a question to us from a viewer via email. And Tanisha Polite is in our social media set with that.
Thank you, Scott. And actually, it's more so of a comment. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the comment and then ask our panelists to kind of chime in on it a little bit. The email reads, I just wanted to say that I'm a high school teacher and I love technology in the classroom. The fact is, education has already been automated through tests, quizzes, textbooks, PowerPoints, etc. Technology in the classroom is an advantage to me because it means that teachers can get back to what they do best, educating instead of disseminating and assessing. So, you know, like I said, with that being said, Donna, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, what you and Debbie do, when you all go into the classrooms and you do this instructional technology teaching to the teachers and things of that nature?
Well, like Debbie said in her piece, we go out and help the teachers feel comfortable, because we get, in our classes, we have a range of teachers, some that are using technology, like these two wonderful teachers here, and then we also have teachers that just haven't touched it at all. And so we want them to feel comfortable using the technology. And also, since we're at a school usually in their environment, then we can bring their items together, whether they're using an iPad or a Chromebook or whatever their technology is, PC, Mac, and let them be comfortable with what they have in their environment. And then take baby steps, like Debbie said, take baby steps, try one thing. So we just encourage them to reach out and try one thing, and then they'll see how it's not so bad. And the students are going to love it. The students are going to get engaged. And I've heard several teachers, and y'all can chime in, say that the kids are engaged. And I believe you mentioned that they want to be there. They want to come to class. It's not this dropout. And the disciplinary problems seem to go away because they want to be there and they want to do it, and they know if they misbehave, they're in the corner and there's no iPad or no fun for them. So they want to be there and doing. And aren't your students like that?
Yes, ma'am. And what I wanted to address, to comment on what you had said earlier, I was reflecting on the teachers that I teach with, and the ones that have just grasped technology by the horns and have taken it away, and the ones that are more apprehensive. And I know that accessibility and availability is one big issue, because I use a lot of iPods and iPads and minis in my room because I'm very comfortable with that. But for some teachers, there's no availability to it unless I go buy my own sort of technology and then choose to become proficient with it. Because it's like that kid, practicing at band. It's great that I have my instrument here at school, but if I don't have something at home to become more advanced with. So I think with some teachers that might be a stumbling block. But one of the biggest benefits is classroom management. Because being elementary school teachers, there is a defined system. There is a mini iPad system, there is an iPod system, and so kids will tend to be better behaved and more engaged and take ownership of their own learning, because they are the 21st century child today, and they are engaged in technology in their home and their personal lives. So we have to, as educators, have it also integrated in our classroom.
You said something I think is so important for us as educators and anyone close to education. We refer to the 21st century student. We are 14 years into the 21st century, and we're still saying that like it's a new thing.
Right.
So I feel like at this stage of the game, we have to start using that term as more of a here and now. It's not a buzzword, it's the reality.
Right. And
we are training these students for the 21st century, and in my mind, even beyond, because these students are going to grow up and replace us in 20, 30 years, mine, because we teach second grade,
right.
But if you're in the upper grades, they're going to replace you even sooner. But we are preparing them for jobs that they don't know about yet. And when you look at the people that are hiring in our world today, the creative thinkers that they're looking for, that they're searching for, technology opens that mindset to develop those creative thinkers. Part of that 21st century skill, collaboration, right. Creativity, critical thinking. And technology just opens that up. In my classroom, I wrote a grant a couple of years ago to receive funding for Lego robotics. And I had them for a third grade classroom. And everybody's like, that's a little advanced for third grade. But you know what? Nothing was more exciting than the day when I set that robot down in the middle of the groups and watched them explode with excitement. And I didn't tell them anything. I just set it down. I didn't tell them how to turn it on. I didn't tell them how to make it work or what to do, even how to program it. And within an hour, they were tinkering with it, figuring it out. It was like Santa's workshop in there, you know. And it was such a buzz of excitement. And like you said, classroom management, all I had to do was say, I think I'm going to have to use that robot.
All right.
And kids were instantly engaged and back with the focus of the lesson.
And we do have a call. Nancy in Columbia is on the line. Nancy, do you have a question for one of our panelists?
Well, I do. I heard the gentleman touch a little bit about audit, but to me, providing one-to-one access technology sounds good, but it's really a financial challenge. And I just wondered if any of the other panelists could have success with writing grants, or how do they get this technology if they're just
all right. I think I got the gist of the question before the line got a little choppy, but who's bearing the financial burden here? Is it at the state level, at the school level, at the district level? Who wants to tackle that?
I think it's a culmination of everybody involved. You know, I'm very fortunate that Mrs. Young, our principal, is a very strong advocate of technology, and she has bought several iPod packages for us as well. But I think it's the teacher's responsibility as well. I'm also the recipient of a Dollar General Family Literacy Grant that I use to purchase the mini iPads that my students use in my classroom. Because even though we have 2 iPod sets, we have 30 teachers that they float from. So if you want to wait every 8 to 9 weeks to get your chance at them, then you can, or you can be proactive and find the funding yourselves.
I love that word, proactive, because as educators, we have to go after what we need for our students. One of the ways that I do that is I use a website called DonorsChoose.org. It's a crowdsourcing site where teachers can go onto the site and write projects or proposals for things that they want for their classroom. Now let me tell you, my district is so gracious and they provide everything that I can think of within reason, but I'm a little irrational sometimes and I like to dream big, you know, and I want iPads and more than they can give me. I want everything, you know, and I go after those things. But DonorsChoose will post my projects online, and then they allow random people from around the world to give me $1, to give me $2, fund the whole project, and when the project is completed, DonorsChoose sends me the items that I need. And since 2006, I've received about $25,000 worth of materials. A lot of that, Lego robotics, iPads, laptops, things like that. I had a man from Sweden give me $100 towards an iPad one time. I had a lady from Washington State who has partnered with me. And what I love about this is that it opens the doors to our 4 walls of my classroom that nobody ever really gets to see unless I put it out there. And DonorsChoose invites those partners to help me. And DonorsChoose itself is technology that I'm using to add to my 21st century classroom.
And I would say right quick that I see districts around the state, they are trying. They're trying to find the funds. They really are trying. They've upgraded their technology, their internet access. They're integrating, upgrading their technology in their schools. And they're trying, and they're starting, the ones that don't have it one-to-one yet, are trying to get a cart into the room and getting the teachers to share that. And so we are all moving that way. Some are just a little slower than others just because they're trying to make sure they do it right. They don't want to just jump in, and you can't just jump in and say, here, use this. You've got to get some training going and things like that. So I think we're moving in the right direction. We may just be slow in some areas and faster in others. So.
Jeremy, you had a thought on this matter too.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. In addition to what my colleagues are saying, I think it's extremely important for us also to remember that these concepts need to be integrated into our school leader preparation programs as well, because technology planning and management and decision making about funding also happens by informed stakeholders and informed school leaders, because then it's not a burden, then it's not a if or that, then it's an absolute must, then it's a priority item. And I think one of the things we can all do here is to make sure that our stakeholders, community members, parents, and especially our school leaders understand what kind of impact these tools can do for our children.
All right. Sarah from Blythewood, you're on the line now. We've got you on Education Insight. You have a question for the panel. Sarah from Blythewood. Now we've lost Sarah, unfortunately. Let's try it again, one more time. Sarah from Blythewood, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Oh, all right. You have a question for the panel?
Well, it's more or less a comment.
Okay.
I have 2 students. I have a 8th grader and I have an 11th grader. Both were honor roll students. I moved here in 2010,
From where?
Kennesaw, Georgia.
Okay.
My youngest one started at Muller Road Middle School in 6th grade, where they only do iPads for technology and classwork. No books, no paper, no pencil. I now have my 14-year-old, which is the 8th grader, that is struggling to actually pass grades from this point on, from 6th grade till now. My 11th grader will tell me that if you don't actually write it down on a piece of paper, you don't actually remember what you're doing, or it doesn't sink into your brain.
Yeah, I think I hear what you're saying, and that is it's the shift and the expectations coming from the parent who's seeing these changes and may or may not be ready to relate to what's going on in the classroom. And I want to ask the panel to who wants to tackle that statement. Elizabeth.
I'll weigh in. I think it's important, there is a place for pencil paper in the classroom. Through the use of technology and free applications, there's a lot of great tools and resources out there, and students are able to kind of meet those expectations now through the use of apps like Evernote, or they have flashcard apps where they're actually typing in. There are some that are even where students are collaborating together on creating sets of flashcards, or they're doing the flashcard work at home and then coming into the classroom and actually going through the flashcards and using them for kind of informal assessment type opportunities. But that transfer of information, we're seeing more often now in classrooms where they're capturing that through the typing. So there's a tactile portion of that that's still occurring, but they're able to do that now through technological devices.
The caller brings up a good point. I mean, the students move from one district, out of state in this case, to another. Where are we as a state? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to the caller. Especially when you get to the middle school or high school level, you've got so many varying factors. You've got changes in adolescence that can affect a student's progress and performance. When you make a change from a state, there's a huge difference from one state to another in terms of the standards, the academic standards, the expectations in the classroom, changes across teachers. So I think, we as parents, I'm the same as a parent, I want to find a trigger factor and remove that. And it's easy if there's something that the student is identifying as this is the problem, to say that's the issue. And teaching virtually, my entire career is nothing but virtual instruction, and I have students that do nothing but virtual the entire time. And honestly, all of these 21st century students prefer no pencil and paper for the most part. Now, there's learning styles. Different students have different learning styles that plays into how they learn. And so I would say as a parent, not to just assume that it's that technology, right, but to talk with the student's teacher individually and just assess that student's individual needs. What are their learning styles? And it's probably not just the technology. There might have been some missing information in the prior standards and the transfer over. But that can be a danger in assuming it's one thing when it's just so multifaceted.
What is the challenge there in communicating to today's parents who didn't have the benefit of any of this technology we're discussing here, or any of the approaches we're discussing, when they can't relate to help their child, if they don't see in themselves any capacity to help the child because they're learning in a whole different environment than what they did? How do you coach those parents?
I would jump in and say very quickly, I really don't like a lot of the cliches that fly around, but the one that we used 20 years ago is the digital divide.
Yeah.
And we talked about the digital divide happening at the house. I would encourage every parent, including, I'm a parent as well, think about where the digital divide is actually happening right now. It's not happening at the homes, it's happening at the teacher level, at the school level, at the classroom level. And do you want your children to walk into an atmosphere where they're at a disadvantage as they go forward and try to get jobs in today's society, or would you rather have the one that's trying to be a little bit forward thinking, try to be a little experimental?
Okay. But as for teachers who are actually in the classroom, how do you deal with those parents who are kind of like technologically disadvantaged and they see that their child is becoming technologically advanced?
Right. Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks to that mom for calling in, because I love that parents out there are actively involved with us in this process, and they want what's best for their children. So thank you to that mother for calling in. One of the things that I've done in my classroom, and you've heard the term flipped classroom, and it's where I teach some lessons on video and then post them to a website so students can watch them later. A lot of times when I do that, I'm doing that for my parents as well. So this past week, I taught my students how to create a file folder on their desktop and then to save an image from the internet into that file folder. My second graders are doing this, regular basis, they're doing this. But I had students talk to the video camera and record step-by-steps, and then I put it online. And when I did that, I thought, my parents are going to benefit from this as well, because maybe they fell in that time period where they didn't have that computer course in high school or college. The year that I graduated from high school was the last year that keyboarding was not required for graduation. Then when I went to college, my freshman year I didn't have a computer class. I didn't have a computer class until my sophomore year. And people started talking about email. I was like, what's an email? I didn't know. I know I look young, but I was a little bit older. And so I had to teach myself, and it was very hard. And I think some of our parents are that way, so I'm trying to put things on my website and Twitter and Facebook and things like that to help my parents to connect them with our class.
This is resonating. Laura, you had something to say, and then we'll go down the line here.
Well, yeah, and when I moved from a traditional brick and mortar classroom into a virtual classroom, one major thing that I found a huge difference was when I thought that I was really good at communicating with my families in a traditional brick and mortar classroom. In the virtual classroom, the parents can see everything, and we really collaborate one-on-one with parents and students, and the technology allows us to make education much more individualized than before. And so I cannot stress the importance of the collaborative team with the teacher, the parent, the student, and almost medical diagnosis when you think about medical issues. But back to that parent's question, if a student is struggling with something, we as an educational team can find your student's best strengths. And I think we have to communicate to parents that that is an emphasis and it can be done, because a lot of these parents in their school environment, that was not possible. And so parents say school is so different now than it used to be. It really is totally different. And through that communication and collaboration, helping them understand that because it looks different and it may seem harder, doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Causation and correlation, two different things.
Yeah. Right. And Paula.
Right.
You know what I wanted to add too is also that kids today are tech savvy. There are things my little 7 and 8-year-olds were showing me how to use on an iPod, and I would encourage the kids to teach their parents how to use those devices. Because, I feel like the schools are trying to keep up with technology, but at home, you have every opportunity to stay abreast, side by side. And like I said, within my own classroom.
And we're seeing this right now, so you can tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
Like that's the smart board that my students are using. And I believe, just like Jeremy said, I serve as a facilitator in my room, and my students are responsible for helping to teach each other. And one of the things that you saw earlier was one student who wrote a book wanted to turn it into a PowerPoint. So Sammy, who is my PowerPoint little genius, is sitting and teaching her. Now that young lady has taught another student as well. And so they pick it up.
Time went
exactly.
through the roof.
And all I do, now I do my teaching in the beginning, but once they've grasped that, I facilitate. And as you can see in the video, that's all I'm doing is going and assessing my students at where they are. But that they are responsible to work within that community and to help each other. And students are very receptive to learning from each other. And a lot of times they have the dialogue to help each other. Because, we use these terms that are specific, whereas they're like, no, just push that button, And so there's a lot of peer learning that goes on.
And what's not happening when that's going on? That's one of the important questions.
Right.
What are the negative things or the not so great things that are ceasing to exist suddenly when you have students teaching other students? Behavior management.
Exactly.
Referrals.
And it's like I'd mentioned earlier, I kept telling the cameraman, this is not a dog and pony show. These really are my students. And there are no disciplinary issues when my students are all engaged in technology. And so, like right now, we are learning all about magnets through singing a song. And as a matter of fact, the PowerPoint presentation was created by 2 of my students. so that we could learn about magnets using the Pharrell Williams Happy Song.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
I need
one
to get
of
a copy of
the
that.
You should. Check us out on
Elizabeth,
YouTube.
Wow.
Elizabeth, real quick.
I think one of the challenges that teachers face is giving up that control and allowing
Absolutely.
students to lead the charge and to identify those students' strengths so that they can assist and become helpers in the classroom. You know, that really kind of helps to break up that workload and make things easier in the end on the teacher.
A comfortable coach.
Yes,
I think
a
that goes
comfortable
back to
coach.
what you asked earlier, Scott, about is it the device or is it the method? And that really goes to this whole pedagogical shift that we're having in education, whereas students are the leaders and teachers are facilitators, where we are taking a little step back after we've done our initial teaching and allowing students the privilege and the freedom to explore learning on their own.
David from Catawba has been very patient. He's on the phone. And David, I know you have a question. Maybe by now you have a couple for our panel. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, I sure do. One thing that sounded, well, my kids are out, my grandkids are out of school, but I'm looking at what I went through, what they went through. Nowadays, you got the unions, and that lady in the yellow, I think her name is Miss Matthews, she made the pure statement, key word, that I've got iPods and iPads, therefore the kids learn their own.
Uh-huh.
And that's been the problem here, down here, not only South Carolina, but other states around the South and sort of midway up. That's it. The teachers put it out there, you learn on your own. That's what it seems to be. That seems to be the problem we have with this education here in the last 15 or 20 years. It's went downhill simply because of that. And I don't understand, like I said, the teachers have to teach. Don't give the students something, have the students learn each other. The teacher needs to keep teaching. That's been the problem.
David, Laura's here from the Department of Education. I think she wants to address that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you offered that comment, because that's a concern that I've heard from lots of parents before. And it's interesting. It's not, I can see where people take that perspective. It's not that teachers aren't teaching. It's that our role changes as an instructor. So what people are used to in a traditional model, that I would stand in front of a classroom and instruct while people are in a line, and take notes, and then they reiterate my notes to me. Now my job is to, on the front end, spend a lot of time creating a meaningful learning experience, integrating, that students are working together and they are communicating, they're collaborating, they're researching, they're learning all the possible tools that are out there to help them get to that learning outcome. And I'm not sitting back at my desk. I'm in there. I'm working group to group, collaborating as a part of that team. And at the end, the students have used so many different levels of thinking and collaboration and teamwork that learning outcome is far richer. And they've not only learned the goal content, but they've developed process skills, and they're stronger learners to drive our entire future and economy in a stronger way in the future. It's just a totally different model.
Jeremy.
And I'll just chime in very quickly and say, technology as a vehicle to improve effectiveness and efficiency. If that's the one sentence I could give to the caller, and I understand how he feels, and I can understand how this can seem this way. But if you looked at the active classroom and looked at technology as a catalyst to improve efficiency and effectiveness, then I think it would be a different ballgame.
And I would recommend that you step into a classroom, ask one of your teachers. I loved having parents come into my classroom when I was brick and mortar. If they didn't understand something, we welcomed them in. So I would check with your teacher, check with your district, so that you can experience, because that's the biggest thing sometimes with teachers, is they even don't understand the process. So we have to, through training them, we've got to let them go through that learning experience to change their understanding of how they're learning. So parents can do that too. I would recommend that.
Donna, is that something that you find in the teaching profession, among the teachers themselves? They perhaps misinterpret the different approach and have trouble adapting to
Right,
it or
and
seeing its value.
Right, and it's an adapt thing. They have to start a little bit at a time, try one thing, and we're not taking the teacher away. The teacher is in fact more important now because they are asking the big questions, and they are asking the question to get started with the research and saying, okay, answer this question. Why is this important? How does this plant grow? How does this seed, what happens when you put this seed in the dirt? And so then the students get to say, oh, it does this, it does that, and they watch it and they learn, and so they are learning themselves, and then they take it one step further. You may introduce a little part of a concept, and then they're going to go, oh, but I really like that, and they'll take it even further and learn even more than you could ever have time to do.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
if I could just jump in here and say this, learning has to have meaning. And when I said teachers are stepping back, I want to make sure the caller understands that we are not stepping back and sitting at our desk and not teaching. We are indeed teaching, but when I say learning has to have meaning, if I tell my second graders that 2 + 2 is 4, and they just memorize the answer is 4, they know the answer, but if I give them 2 rocks and then another 2 rocks, and they see the 2 come together and it has meaning, and then they apply that to their own lives. Well, you know, I've got 2 Matchbox cars in my bedroom, and then I've got 2 Matchbox cars in my living room, so I've got 4. That's where people who aren't educators sometimes don't understand what we're saying when the teachers are stepping back. We're letting the kids discover and learn with us as the facilitator, because that is what children in our society need,
and it's our job
for the environment that they're going into.
It's our job to make sure people understand it too. I really believe it's on our backs to make sure that everyone understands how things are changing.
Thus we're here.
Like this episode right now.
Okay.
And I saw a video running just then of working with teachers in classroom, and what we were doing in that classroom was actually working with iMovie to learn a creative way for teachers to help the students learn, and I call that an assessment tool. We do all this testing of students, and have you learned this and have you learned that? Well, this is one creative way to learn if the student knows or not, and it's just one little simple way. So here I am using my hands. And I'm trying to get the teachers to realize that it's not a hard tool, but they also don't have to know everything about the tool. They can get started with it, and the students will take it and run with it.
What is iMovie, just for the uninitiated?
I'm sorry. iMovie is is working with an iPad, and you can actually use it on, you can use any movie editing. So it's creating a video, and creating a video can be with images, it can be with video itself using a camera. Everybody, just about, a lot of people have a camera in their pocket on their phone. They can use that. So it's easy to take a video and use it as an assessment tool. What did I learn today? What did I learn? And then they can share it with other students. Like Jeremy was saying, that you can, and Jeremy and Jed were saying that they can share it with their parents, and then other students can learn from that, and you can build, and the students become the teachers. So it's just a really neat tool, and you can see these teachers may not have ever touched it or seen it very little. Now they're excited about it, and they're taking one step at a time.
So there's no intimidation from
the
older teachers. They're fully, ready to take on that task.
They want
of
to take it on. They just want to know how they're going to take it on, and how do they continue teaching all the facts that they have to teach with these new tools. And so that's where the coaches come in, or the teachers that are already doing it can help them, or you bring in outside trainers, however you want to do it, because we have training classes that ETV offers, and then there are lots of others, like Elizabeth does training, and everybody, so just find some training that works for you.
Okay, and I do have a question here from our Twitter at #EduInsight. Should technology be a related arts class in elementary schools, or should technology literacy be addressed by immersing the students in the general elementary classroom?
It should be everywhere we go, because in real world situations, technology is everywhere that we go. If you wanted to have a related arts class where students learn specifics of how maybe to apply iMovie or apply other apps into their learning, maybe that would be okay, but technology is all around us. You cannot go anywhere. You can't go to the grocery store, to the post office, to the bank without having to be fluent in technology. So that's a question to me that our classrooms, it should be everywhere, because that is the society in which we live. Now, I will say this, technology is a tool like everything else in our classroom. Should it be the end-all, be-all? No. but it's a part of our society. It's where our kids are headed, and that's our job as educators, is to prepare them for life in our society, because they're going to drive us forward into the next generation.
And Elizabeth.
Yeah. Technology literacy is even more important today with our formal assessments taking place on the web. We have web-based assessments that are coming out, and so students that are expected to take these assessments going in with minimal access to keyboarding and other types of technology literacy programs, it gives them almost a disadvantage. And so I know school districts are currently working very hard to try to implement that K-12, to make sure that students have experiences so that they can become technology literate, and infusing different programs. There's tons of resources out there.
Okay, I want to touch on something real quick. Every industry, every profession has its best management practices. What are some of those in this kind of realm? A concept of, here are these tools, everyone's using them now. What are some standards that educators across the country need to be aspiring to?
The International Society for Technology and Education is a professional organization, and they distribute standards for students, teachers, for school leaders, and for computer educators as well now. And I think they have an entire list of standards that any of us could look at and say, hey, we're doing this in our classroom or we're not. And that is not the end game, that's the beginning point. Going back to the question we had a minute ago, I really hope that we get to a point where we're not thinking about integrating technology, but yet it's invisible to us. We don't think about the technology at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
We don't think about the technology at the gas station. And that's where schools need to go.
So you want the wow factor to disappear,
right,
and it just become a way of life in the classroom.
Bingo.
That's the point you're making. Okay.
And we have a Twitter question, which I think is very interesting, because you two expressed that your classrooms are a lot more manageable with the technology. And so this question says, doesn't technology in the classroom keep students from focusing on content?
Nope.
I'll have to disagree with that completely. And during the shoot when ETV was in my room, I had students watching Brain Pop Jr., and they were going to be labeling the life cycle of a butterfly and then the parts of a butterfly with no word bank at all. And they were going to be required to use the video, know how to pause and play, and acquire the information that they needed in order to complete the activity that they had. That's completely content-based. And what I think sometimes people have a hard time understanding about technology is that Brain Pop Jr. and these other apps, they're not teaching the kids. We are teaching the children. These is just an avenue for them to display what they've learned. This is a vehicle to show, look what I can do, and it look relevant and pertinent, and like Ms. Cohut said, their assessments are getting ready to be computer-based. And if we don't start going beyond of the integration, but just making it a part of the everyday classroom, then our students are going to go ahead and they're already going to be behind a step.
Elizabeth?
What I love about technology is that, with our students, we have students that have varied learning styles, and through technology, these teachers can now meet the needs of students at all levels, that have these, your visual learners, your kinesthetic learners, so they're able to, students can produce products that can make them the expert at whatever they're doing. And so I love that technology affords that differentiation with the instructional practice so that students can really understand the content and come up with these products that kind of show what they've learned, that they are learning this content, and they're able to share that in their way. Right. Yeah, and so I think technology does not replace the teacher. I think that's the biggest thing. It's that tool to give these kids access to things, make them global learners, and put them out there so that they can do virtual field trips. They can video conference with people in other countries, continents, other locations. I mean, it just really opens up what our students are able to do and have access to.
And I was in a classroom, I was watching a video actually of a classroom where the teacher actually had like 5 centers, like you had different centers going on, and there was a group that was reading a book. I mean, they had a paper book, yes they did, they got from the library, they were reading that book, they were taking notes, they were writing down, they were learning from that book. And all of this was based around one concept, and then they would go and they might use an iPad device or a small tablet or a laptop to do something else. And then they would get up and use the board and work together on the board. And so there was individual learning, there was collaboration going on, and they were all doing it with a mixture of things. And all of the students needed to do all 5 things, so they weren't just doing this one thing because I just like doing this one. They were doing it all.
Okay.
Sarah from Charleston is on the phone. Sarah, welcome to Education Insight.
Thank you so much. How are you today?
We're doing great. We're having a lively conversation. Have you been following along?
Yes, sir, we have, definitely. I just have one question, predominantly Donna. I'd like to know, what is her overall grasp, or your overall grasp, Donna, of the e-tool on a global level? The web is vast, and how will that be interpreted or understood by the students of South Carolina?
All right, Donna.
And why the written word and continual medium?
Okay.
Well, I think our schools are working toward using all of these tools. I've seen several schools using, when you talk about global, using the Skype tool. So they're talking to schools that are next door or down the street, but they're also talking to schools that are around the world. And they're learning about culture, learning about diversity, learning about other cultures. And they're doing that through a global world with Skype. Or they may be just using the tools right in their classroom, learning from the library, learning from the tools, the creating things. So we're working toward a global world, and we're all communicating, we're all connected, whether we like it or not, we're all connected. And so I think we're learning to be connected and learning the tools, even in the lower grades, we're learning the tools to be connected.
All right, real quick, Elizabeth, on that note.
We talk about, a global learning environment. We talk about college and career readiness. Well, what better way to, prepare our students for careers of the future or college by bringing in external experts in those fields so that they can really see what's going on, and ask people, virtually without having school districts having to drop a bunch of money to take field trips and things like that. So, access to those kinds of tools and resources has really kind of expanded education.
Laura.
Yeah, and I with our virtual courses that we write, a couple of examples with the things that we do. We just launched an anatomy and physiology course, and in our anatomy and physiology course the students can do virtual cadaver dissections, which you could never do in a traditional high school environment.
How does that work?
They've got images where they've dissected in advance, and so you can pull back layers and look at actual images of a cadaver, and then they have the option of human models if they're not comfortable with that. We have deep brain stimulation surgery that they're able to manually go through and participate in the parts of it. We do a knee replacement surgery. So they're seeing some of the real things they would actually do if they went into a physiology field. We have another teacher right now who's in the process of writing an astronomy course, and very early process, early stages, but she's working with the State Museum and the new telescope that they're developing to partner with them to get some learning opportunities in there. And so when you stop thinking about the classroom as a box and technology is an extra little glitter you throw on top of it, and what he was saying that technology is an expected tool that's out there, then the global, all those pieces are just natural, because our students suddenly realize, instead of learning something on a piece of paper in this room and walking out and it's not important anymore, we've changed their entire scope in life.
No limitations, right?
Yeah. No limitations. They've learned processes and skills that they can take into any work environment, and they become empowered.
On that note then, what's the future of the classroom in a box?
And
will we move away from it entirely?
And do you think that because technology is so prevalent now that the students are smarter, or are they more engaged?
I would say, first question, and that's something with virtual a lot, I don't think that the traditional classroom will ever go away. There are students that come to the virtual environment that go quickly back because they just need a different level of support, and they need that person in the room with them. But I feel like my second grader, I have a second grader, and I feel like he's smarter now than I was in the 12th grade. And I'll give you here's an example.
Because of accessibility, right? The
Here's an
resources.
example. We were playing a game this weekend with some friends, and one of the questions, a trivia question, was when was the first frozen dessert you created it, or who created it? And one of the options was Emperor Nero, and we said, well, there's no way because they couldn't have frozen anything. Well, my son pipes up and he's like, oh, well, they had the first frozen dessert. They took snow from the mountains and honey and nectar. And he was right. And I said, how did you know that? And it's just the level of expectation that there's no cap on what a kid can do. If you get the right teacher who plans the right learning environment and uses the tools so
facilitates
it, then it's phenomenal.
And that's a very positive note to wrap up on. I want to thank all of our panel for being here today for Education Insight, and certainly all of our callers and tweeters and emailers who partook in this discussion tonight. I'm Scott Hawkins for Tanisha Polite and all of us here at ETV. Have a great evening, and thank you.